Good evening. Welcome to the Toon review. As me and Alex and possibly Danny Allen, maybe Paul later, review the 4-1 victory at St Mary's today. A result that took us to third and looks like keeping us third at the precise moment in time as Liverpool are beating Spurs 2-1 at Tottenham. So yeah, it's going to be a momentous day for us. Welcome to Alex, who's with us now. Hey mate.
Evening. How are we doing?
It's all fantastic, mate. A perfect day almost. If this result stays the same, it will be, won't it?
Yeah, we just got to wait for Spurs Liverpool, and then fingers crossed we can stay in third.
Indeed. Let's do some comments while we're here. Chippers is in the house. He's saying third, inject it. Yeah, Shea Gooch is here too. He was sacked, about time, not going to lie. Who's been sacked? Is that Hasenhüttl?
Apparently Hasenhüttl, the Athletic have come out, but I haven't read the article yet. I saw the preface of it, and apparently he's been sacked. I don't think it's immediately, so I need to go and clarify that.
Right, interesting, because some of the stuff he did today was a bit strange, I thought. Really strange. Aaron says, EIO, up the Premier League we go. Stephen says, even everyone knows to see us win, but how Manquillo played for Liverpool, I will never know. I forgot how terrible he is playing out of position and playing people on the side. Last we see of him, hopefully, he says.
Yeah, he wasn't playing out of position, was he? He was playing right back.
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't there when the goal was in. He was trying to block the shot at the far. No, he did not see him dive trying to block the shot at the far post. Lord knows what he was doing there.
I don't know.
It was strange.
I'd have to go and watch it back.
It was a strange thing. Spencer says, a tuna flying high, got the Geordies feeling like pie in the sky. He also says, Manquillo's name is too close to Tranquillo, which is the opposite of how he looked out there. Indeed. He looked all going forward, didn't he? Steve says, I forgot how terrible he was. And Chipper says, to think we will be in the top 4 going into the World Cup. I think that's pretty much confirmed now, isn't it? Yeah, because Man United losing at Villa. So, yeah.
Oh, did they? Is that full time?
3-1, finished 3-1, yeah.
Oh, lovely. I didn't know that. That was some lovely extra news I've just found out.
I did say it was a perfect day. Gary Stevens says, what a day, can't believe it. Third, well done the Toon. Even when we played below our best, we still win comfortably. And we weren't at our best day, were we, Alex? It was a bit bitty at times, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Trippier mentioned that in his post-match. It wasn't quite... I think the lads are a little bit... Well, I don't want to say tired, because the intensity was there. It was just a little bit of game sense, a little bit of first touch and passes just going awry, maybe a bit of focus. I think we could do with a break. And it's kind of coming up soon. We've just got to make sure we go out and don't perform in a sloppy manner against Chelsea, because we can't... If we do that against Chelsea, it might not be the same result. We need to make sure we play a little bit more clean and tidy. But we got the 3 points, and we got the job done. So,
indeed, we did. Rachel's here also in the Mod House. Good evening, everyone. Great result. Please click the chat. Respectful, so no all caps and no duplicates. Enjoy the show. Spencer says, my only real complaint about today was Botman looking a bit too lax at times. A more clinical team would have punished us, especially that first half Al Yunusi chance. Botman's passing today was well off, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a strange one. I think we're just going to have to give him the benefit of the doubt and just move on from it. It's something he's not really done yet. It's the first time we've seen wobbles from him. It was that with like maybe 2 passes that were very, very poor, release counterattacks, dangerous counterattacks at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that's a one-off or something that he does very occasionally. I mean, to be fair, Fabian Schär used to do that occasionally as well. He used to fall asleep. We just need to make sure we push that out the game. I'm sure the coaching staff will be, equally as adamant that they need to switch on and stay focused at all times and try and clean up those mistakes.
I mean, defensively, he was still as fantastic as always. Just those 2 passes I can remember in particular, which could have put us deep in the doo-doo. Chipper says, Rachel Lilly, hello again. Andy Alum says, Spurs have been shite. How are they 4th? They're mounting a bit of a comeback here, but at the moment, Liverpool are attacking. And come on, Mo, you can get your hat-trick today. I'm sure you can. Rose says hello to Chippers. Obviously, say no to each other. Kamal says, good evening, guys and gals. Had a feeling Mr. Snickerdoodle will be gone. On another positive, Willocks, come on, you Maggies, is back. Yeah, he played well today, didn't he, Joe Willock?
He did. He played very well. I mentioned at half-time or maybe even full time with Paul. That we were playing. There was a lot more rotations, a lot more players just appearing in different places, left wing, right wing, just linking up in different ways, and they were struggling to figure out which runners to track. It was unfortunate it just wasn't quite clicking because we could have had more goals. To be fair, in that first half we had a few tidy little link ups that just didn't quite finish off properly. And Willock again with his driving runs, driving it down the wing. I think he got a few minutes at left wing before Maxi came on for him. Much better, lovely goal, precise finish, and he deserved it because his performances have been improving in recent weeks. So I'm glad he's got his goal.
He did a fantastic finish, and yeah, he was danger all the time, wasn't he? Another person that got on the score sheet was Mr. Wood. I thought that was a tidy finish too, wasn't it?
It was a proper striker's finish. This is another thing I mentioned with Paul. It seems like when he's got time, he's slow, lethargic, his decision making's poor. But then one of the few situations we've given him where he needs to just act on instinct, it was good. He span on the spot. He knew where the goal was. He hit it well and got a good goal. So maybe that's kind of more of what we need. Because I mean, that's if you go back to how he was playing at Burnley with Ashley Barnes, it was sort of last minute quick link ups and the instinctive shot. Whereas with us, he's always been sort of tasked with contributing to build up and playing intricate football, and he's really struggled with that. Whereas that was a better finish from him.
Yeah, he looked a bit more on his toes as well. I mean, doing a little bit of pressing also, and also coming back late in the game to help defend. I thought he did well today, Chris Wood.
Yeah, he was busting a gut to defend as well. I was very proud of
that. Sky's man of the match was Alan Smith's man of the match was Sean Longstaff, and again covered every blade of grass, didn't he?
I would agree with that. Statistically, he wasn't rated very highly, but I thought he was exceptional, absolutely exceptional. He was part of several interceptions. He's not been, for some reason, given those interceptions on the statistical websites, but I've literally watched him intercept the ball with my own eyes more than twice. And then when he did those interceptions, he was calm, sprayed the ball about. He contributed on a couple of left wing and right wing runs. Got near the back post as well, could have had a goal. Got one-on-one, it was offside. So just a little bit missing in the final third. But we occasionally, every few months, we pop up and we remind ourselves that Sean Longstaff can be better in an attack in a more advanced role. I think that was a good example of it today. That when he's feeling confident, he's not that bad at going forward, actually.
Yeah, I said the goal he was deeply involved in also, wasn't he? He'd been ahead of Miggy to receive the ball, to lay it into Callum Wilson, who's first time touch. He knew he was going to get cropped as well there. He laid it into the path of Miggy, who somehow made it go through to goal, and another fantastic finish from him.
Yeah. Hang on, where are we? Are we still on Longstaff there?
So yeah, you can still talk about Longstaff. Yeah.
Because I remember in my notebook, I did actually write down, if I can find it. It was really late on. I remember him leading a press, like right at the end of the match. I was so impressed with him. On the 87th minute, he runs 60, 70 yards to go and press the goalkeeper. And he was part of the defensive action that had got the ball up the pitch in the first place. Just absolutely just on it. I couldn't believe some of the fitness that he was showing. People, you talk about covering every blade of grass, but the fact that he's almost pressing as a striker on the 87th minute, just insane.
Yeah, outstanding again. Second week on the trot that he's really covered himself in glory. But once again,
in front of Southgate again. To be fair,
in front of Southgate again too. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if he's going to break into the England squad, but no. I mean, James Ward-Prowse is going to be in that squad. You'd think. And he was.
But it's something for him to watch, isn't it? For potentially after the World Cup, for maybe in the next year, when the next round of friendlies come in, he's going to be in the portfolio now. In whatever that big folder is, whether it's on a computer or he's got a real document, I reckon Sean Longstaff's now got a page somewhere in the England camp. Yeah. He might not get a call up, but I think he's at least being respected as an option now, which is be great and absolutely great for him. And yeah, Ward-Prowse, I mean, he wasn't awful today for Southampton. I think there was a lot of other things wrong with them, but I think it was more about a lot of their chances came from us making a few mistakes that are uncharacteristic of us. We don't normally make those mistakes.
Yeah.
but our counters were just so fluid and we're very clinical. You can't give us an inch because we will just punish. It's not like against Forest at the start of the season where we were just missing so much. Now, if you give us a sniff, we'll score goals. We've scored a lot of goals in recent weeks.
Yeah, we have indeed. George is here. He says even last year's great win today, and Spurs are getting beat. Yeah, that's still the case. It's 3 minutes of normal time to go, and they're 2-1 down. Julie's in the house. Hi, Julie. Julie J. 2-1 Liverpool. 16 says Scott. Well, that was kind of 13 minutes ago, so we are getting a little bit behind. Spurs getting beat 2-1, so we still say third. 15 to go. Tom Lynch says, good evening. Hasenhüttl has been binned. So if Billy asks you if he's a Saint, or the answer's ain't. Indeed, it would be if I was to ask if Ralph Hasenhüttl, pot noodle. But strange decision today when he took Armstrong off. I felt he was their biggest threat, and he took him off.
Yeah, he was the dangerous one. He delivered that nasty ball across the face of goal that managed to miss Pope and the defenders, get beyond Trippier. Strange call. Maybe he just wanted a bit more energy in. He wanted to try and match us because he knew that they really needed to go at us, and they were going to be very susceptible on the counter, and they were because we scored from it. So it just didn't work. It didn't work. I think they needed to stop that Miggy run. That Miggy run was what did it, and that was arguably a bit of his quality and desire because he bumped into at least 3 players. So there was possibly 3 opportunities for Southampton players to try and rob him of that ball or bring him down, one of the two. And Miggy just showed that just intent, just the only thing is goal. And he wanted it more. So, and is that Hasenhüttl's fault? I mean, potentially, because our manager instills that confidence in our players. So you could argue that maybe he's not got them, giving as much fight. They're at St. Mary's.
Yep, Spurs are really pushing for an equaliser. There's just a minute of normal time to go, but they're really pushing at the minute. So, of course, an equaliser wouldn't get them above us, but still, 2 want to be better for us. Ross Little says, good day to win, but the results have put us in a good way for the next game. They have indeed. Ross says, can't believe I've wanted Villa and Liverpool today. That doesn't feel right at all. No, it doesn't at all, but the way the fixtures have fell, we're sitting here egging the Reds on, and earlier kind of hoping Villa would do us a favour, then they did. The only thing is we're going to hear nothing but nonsense from them fans again, ain't we, every week, the Villa fans. Christ. They'll be expecting European football straight away, won't they?
At least the Man United fans will calm down because they've all been saying, oh, this guy's the best in the world, this guy's the best in the world. We're they needed humbling. I'm quite glad they've been brought down. They needed it. They were getting a bit too big for their boots.
Indeed. Paul Tully says, tell you what, after seeing how this team, squad and club are currently, great defence, midfield with improving players and strikers on form, with Isak still to come back, we could still challenge City.
It's a big ask.
It is.
I mean, to be fair, we've still got a reasonable run of fixtures. We haven't played Leeds yet. I'd be disappointed if we couldn't take maximum points off them. We've still got to play Brentford again, Palace again, Fulham again, Everton again, Bournemouth again, Wolves again, Forest again. All of the bottom 10 are going to swing back round. So, and hopefully
we get to play Arsenal.
We are yet to play Arsenal, but I'm excited for that. I'm not nervous. I'm more excited.
No,
that'll be a good fight because we went toe to toe with City and we got a draw. The next 2 tests really are going to be Chelsea and Arsenal. So bring it on.
Indeed. Matt's in the house. Hi, Matt, down in Australia. Spacebar and everyone's saying hello to each other. Troll says, how are we doing this? Oh, yeah, that's right. How? Indeed. Seattle Geordie's also here. Hello, everyone. Great win. Thought Pope could have come out for their goal. So standing waiting for the shot, and the Wood goal was like time had stopped how slow he turned with the ball.
You don't stop them. You don't stop them.
I thought Pope was outstanding today, I've got to say.
Yeah, I agree. I thought his distribution was a little bit better. He was very quick off of his line. He was it was very good game management from him as well. He understood when to release quickly and start counters, when to just tell the lads to calm down and try and regroup, especially with some defensive errors with the passing. he helped. You can definitely tell that's one of the important, the beneficial parts of having an older goalkeeper, because he's not a young lad. He's a very experienced keeper, and you could see it today.
Yeah, his handling was exemplary as well, apart from one little tiny fumble early doors. But apart from that, I thought it was superb.
Definitely wasn't as bad as his opposite number at fumbling, but
no,
we'll get to him.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Julie says, was a great finish by Wood, I have to say. Stanley's here. Evening all, great result. Ian Fleming's also in the house, 007. Good evening, Paul, Alex, Billy, Danielle, and Mods. Great result today. Mark is covering. Evening all. No done and Paul. Paul's got a flat tyre. We'll address this now. Paul's got a flat tyre, so he's not able to get home quickly enough to be on the show. And Danielle's looking after the cats because there's still fireworks flying all over the place, left, right, and centre. While we're here, if you are enjoying the video, hit the thumbs up and give us a like. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to us. It's free to do so by hitting the subscribe button. And also memberships are also available by hitting the join button. That costs you a monthly fee. That's a very small monthly fee. But we'll get you into competitions and such like. And also super chats are also available by hitting the dollar sign at the bottom of the screen there. And that'll go towards improving the channel and stuff like that. So all the options are there for you to go with. We'll do a few more comments. That's why Dan and Paul ain't here at the minute. But hopefully they will maybe appear before the end of the show. Marcus Covering says, I hope everyone is well, buzzing with a win. Indeed, I think everyone is very happy today. Ryan's also here. Ryan, hope you're well. Just saw a fan cam of a Chelsea fan saying that he's ready to take an L at St James's Park next week. That's got to be a unique experience for a Chelsea fan to admit that. My God. Ian Fleming says hello to Gary. Scott says, buzzing that Willock scored. Julie J says Hasselhoff pot noodle story, not on the BBC. Yeah, so it's not official as yet. So we'll have to watch that. But it wouldn't surprise anybody if he was to get the tin tack by the end of the night or beginning of the week. Newcastle's here. New owners, Eddie, his staff, and our great team up the Toon. Retro Andy's here. Wagner Bello. The beginning of the third goal was the most impressive play by Bruno today. Yes, more than the goal. Bruno, I thought was really steady. I thought people were saying he was quiet. I thought he pulled all the strings again. I thought he was outstanding again, Bruno.
Yeah, I think you summed it up. Pulling the strings. He doesn't always have to be, the link-up merchant. Sometimes it's fine. It's adequate for him to sit back and get the ball recoveries, protect the ball, win the fouls. He's very important in getting the switches, out appropriately. He's good at getting the ball to Trippier as well. Quite often, people will close him down, and Trippier's in an acre of space over the opposite side, and then Trippier pulls strings in a different way. And he was just so solid and instrumental. A little bit more, in the same way that people talk about the old DMs like Pirlo and stuff like that. They would have games where you wouldn't really see them much, but they would be so integral. And that's I'm not saying Bruno's Pirlo, but don't get me wrong. But it was one of those performances where he wasn't at the forefront of everything, but he just kept everything ticking along, and his movement and awareness to get that shot away and to make the space to it's more impressive the space he made to take that shot. To be fair, because he had a lot. There was nobody really closing him down. He made a lot of space. It was just a simple 1-2. It looked like schoolboy football, but it was just the precision and placement and speed and movement of both of them just to sort of dig out the space to get the shot. Exceptional footballer. The fact that he pulled the strings and got a goal, he's incredible.
This is going on a White Hart Lane at the minute. White Hart Lane, they don't play anymore.
Well, very angry Jurgen Klopp.
No, he's very happy because the game's over. Spurs have been beaten by Liverpool 2-1, which means we're third in the table before next Saturday. Yeah. Official.
Third in the Premier League.
Indeed. It's a great result. It's a great achievement, isn't it, so far? I know no medals are given out in November, but still we've got a great base to build on. And if we can beat Chelsea next week and then just invest a little bit in January, who knows?
I mean, given the target is any form of Europe, we're definitely setting ourselves up here. Even if we have a poor second half of the season, you could argue we're still in with a very good shout of getting at least Conference League. So we're setting it up for something at least. We better get the passports renewed, because if we don't get at least Conference now, I'd be surprised. We are so far ahead.
So 5 games today, 4 were won by the away team, and the only home victory was Villa's at Man United. Arsenal won at Chelsea, we won at Southampton, Palace won at West Ham, and Liverpool at Tottenham. So there you go. That's the Sunday's kind of results. Chipper says, I think I'd curse the clean sheet record when I messaged you, Alex.
I think you did, yeah.
Heath, Paul says, thoughts on Willock for England? We need to take informed players, and Willock certainly is that.
No. I mean, he's a cracking player, but he'd need to improve on what he is, because there's a lot of drivey, I mean, he does what Foden and Bellingham do, kind of. Positionally, the style, it's very sort of dropping the shoulder, driving. I think there are too many people ahead of him at the moment. He would need to show a lot more. He'd need to put in today's kind of performances more regularly. I think he's got the potential to. It's unknown whether he can get that, but I think there's definitely a ceiling there where he is, performing at a level to get a call up. He's not there right now, but you never know.
No, I think he may get there sometime in the future, but whether he becomes a regular is another kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Bruno's goals amazing, reminded me of Miggy's and some of Maxi's goal. It was a fantastic finish, wasn't it? And using the defender as a shield to bend round him into the corner of the right-hand corner of the net was superb. I mean,
Maxi's positioning can't be understated as well, because they have to respect the fact that normally when Maxi receives it there, he just spins and runs. So it's cheeky, because that's also contributing to giving Bruno space. Maxi was on one today as well. He decided to pick the ball up and run past about 5 people.
That was
Gave
fantastic.
The ball away a couple of times, but bloody hell,
Could you understand why Murphy was selected in the first place after seeing Maxwell? I mean, I think he'll get an hour against Palace, but the Murphy selection.
I don't know.
Murphy was pretty poor, to be fair.
He was okay for the first half an hour, I thought, and then his performances really dropped off. I thought he was good for half an hour, but I thought they caused us problems down that left side, but in that half space between Burn and Botman, the wide cover wasn't quite up to scratch. And you could argue that, well, I think Murphy's defensive contributions weren't as good as they normally are. So I don't think it made much difference having Maxi or Murphy on the left today. But yeah, I don't know. It concerns me slightly, because there are moments where Burn does need a bit of help. And it concerns me that Maxi might not be able to give him that help.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. It's a tricky one. It depends. I think you need Joe Linton in the side just to provide that additional wide cover and physicality if you're going to play Maxi for 90 minutes.
Robert says, not the greatest game, but still a comfortable win. Please, Wood and Willock scored. We are all truly united. We definitely missed Joe Linton today, didn't we? In lots of reasons. The physicality wasn't there. The defensive help for Burn wasn't there as much, like you just said. But he'll be back for next Saturday, won't it? 5 o'clock next Saturday, isn't it? So
yeah. There were a lot of situations where there were little balls bouncing up, and people, lots of second and third balls and strange little headers. That Joe Linton that's his game. He's quite capable of bringing the ball down and beating off 2 people, and very good with the ball retention and releasing counter attacks. Not that Longstaff and Willock did anything wrong. They had very good games. It's just Joe Linton's just a different player to those 2. And I think it's more balanced when he's in the side.
Conrad says Botman was too complacent. Just those 2 all defensively, he was still terrific. Still made the game superbly and come across and cleared a few times. However, chat next to him, I thought Fabian Schär was outstanding again, wasn't he?
Yeah, Schär was good. Schär was very, very good. He didn't make the mistakes that Botman did, and he definitely didn't do himself any harm there with his ratings. His long balls were brilliant. He was tidying up. Well, he was integral, because when we made a few defensive mistakes, he was the linchpin that tried to fix it and clean up the mess. He didn't panic. He stayed calm. He made sure he was tracking the right runners. Just a very mature performance from Fabian Schär again. I know we love it when he sort of does his flare runs forward and has a pop-up goal, but he's a very mature defender as well when he wants to be.
Yeah, he is. Danielle's here. Simba hiding under a duvet shaking. I cannot tell you how much I despise fireworks. Yeah, I mean, it's not even the 5th of November's gone now. Why people are still doing it is beyond me. But yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it is these days, I'm afraid.
Well, just to back up your point, by the way, Fabian Schär is our 3rd highest rated player statistically this season on SofaScore. It's Trippier, Bruno, Schär, Miggy, and Pope in the top 5.
Superb. So pleased for Chris Wood, a wonderful goal, says AJ. Any news on Wilson, says Alex? Well, we do have news on Wilson. He was poorly, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's illness. Probably wanted to bring him off. Maybe he mentioned it to the staff. I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything for us to be worried about. I think it's just a bit of illness. Hopefully ready for Chelsea next week. Just a precaution, really.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get a rest against Palace, and obviously the England manager was there again today. He seems to have a season ticket for Newcastle at the moment, doesn't he? He's there every bloody week, isn't he?
Indeed.
And so he wouldn't have seen anything from Callum Wilson that he didn't already know because, as I say, he wasn't.
Interesting as to why he was there today, though.
Yeah, I guess so. Unless he's looking
why do we think he was there?
Ward Prowse possibility. Dan Burn maybe.
Wow. I reckon he's definitely come back for us because he's already seen us play a couple of times recently. So to come back again, it must be to make a decision on something. I think Trippier was dead certain anyway. So he must be back to try and make a decision on something not as clear cut, i.e. Dan Burn, Callum Wilson, James Ward-Prowse. So if he's back, I guess that's positive.
I don't think it'll be Theo Walcott.
Oh, definitely not. Oh, that was a terrible performance from him. Absolutely atrocious.
Matt says another brilliant Monday morning at work. Thanks to Newcastle. Alan Brown's here. Trips man of the match for me. Another assist, and it's no coincidence that the Saints scored their only goal when he was replaced. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Actually, there was a bit of confusion down that right-hand side of the defence, wasn't there? I mean, left to Eddie Anderson to mark 3 players while Manquillo was on the corner of the 6-yard box on the other side of the pitch. Yeah, very odd.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Foxy's comment earlier, not to scapegoat him. I agree with that. That's fair enough. But I'm frustrated that he left Anderson out to dry there because that is a reflection. There'll be a lot of armchair merchants that will look at Elliot Anderson and comment on that. And I feel like that's really harsh on the young lad because it's not...
It's not his side of the pitch. It's not his end of the pitch. Let's be honest. He's a left-footed attacker, and there he's at right back against 3 Southampton defenders. Yeah, he was left out to dry a little bit there. This is Steely Dan on Facebook. Good evening, Billy and team. Phenomenal result for the Toon today, down at the former Dingley Dell. 3rd in the table, which is surreal. Away the lads from Steely Dan. Keep on chucking, indeed. Newcastle says, I'm 71, lived through the entertainers and Kevin Keegan. Had a disastrous 14 years at Ashley. Now the excitement is back with our new owners. Eddie, his staff are all great players. Away the lads. Not to see these kind of posts, isn't it? It's completely different to what we were used to for a long time. Danny says, I'm moving back to North Shields this week after 30 years in Somerset. Great timing. Indeed it is. Sven Anderson says we have conceded 3 goals in 5 games, scoring 14. I think Botman has been class. Indeed he has. And a contributing part to that defence, obviously. Spencer's calling Spurs a Selfridges Stoke City. That must be the start.
I mean, they are. I think they've got the most goals from corners this season, and they are kind of set up to do that. Although Kulusevski's ball to Kane was very, very good. But I think they've definitely missed Kulusevski. They might play some slightly, they won't. They're not going to be playing as much anti-football now they've got Kulusevski back. So
let's talk a bit about the opponents today. Are they getting relegated, Alex?
Well, if these rumours about the sacking of Hasenhüttl are true, then it's very possible because Villa look like you would imagine the ship is going to be steadied. I would be surprised if it isn't. They've got a lot of quality in that squad. It just needs harnessing somewhat. I mean, you've got Bournemouth and Forest. Bournemouth might stay out of it. They might get dragged back in. They're not that far above the relegation zone. I personally feel it'll be Forest, possibly Bournemouth, and then a third surprise because Fulham ain't going back down. They are playing reasonably good football. They've got scoring forwards. They're much higher up the table, so it's going to be down to at least one to fall through the trapdoor.
Everton.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be a cluster of those clubs, isn't it? Everton, Southampton. Southampton are going to have to try and turn it around and get a few wins on the trot, but they haven't got time for that. If they lose that final game, they're going to go out. We're going to break for the World Cup with them in the relegation zone. So, and what, they're going to have Theo Walcott up front to get them out of this mess. It's not looking great. It's not looking good. Maybe they should give Seko Mara some minutes when he's back. But
he was on the bench today, wasn't he? So yeah, he was on the bench today for them. So I'm surprised he didn't get any kind of minutes at all.
I mean, having watched him, I watched 6 games of him during the summer. He could not have been any worse than Walcott's display today, because Seko Mara was brilliant in the summer in that youth cup that we watched, the Toon tournament. There's no way he would have done worse than Walcott. Walcott was poor.
It was unbelievably poor. The man definitely passed his best. Who else is Southampton? Kind of the defence looked shaky, didn't it? And the goalkeeper's awful. I just don't see.
I mean, Peru didn't do too bad and then got the goal. Obviously, it was a very tidy goal. Salisu was a mixed bag. Sometimes stopping things very well and breaking up and passing, and then other times just being careless.
Yeah. What else could we say about them? Shea Adams is mostly missed, occasionally hit, isn't he? So, but I mean, Everton is supposedly having a good season. I've been hearing how great Lampard's been doing, but I looked at the table, they're 5th from bottom. So, if they're having a good season, Christ, if they have a bad spell, they'll be right in the doo-doo, won't they?
Yeah, they're only 2 points above the relegation zone, and their last 5 matches they've lost 3, 11 goals scored, 14 against. They're not really scoring anything. I mean, they've scored the 2nd least in the division. No, 3rd least in the division. And Calvert-Lewin's, I think did he go off again today? Or yesterday, whenever it was, he might have gone off. Yeah, I think at the moment, with how things are going at the moment, you would imagine it would be either Wolves, Southampton, or Everton to fall through the trapdoor. Because Wolves are still down there on 10 points.
Yeah, they are. Alan Brown's a son of a good team when they can grind out a 4-1 win when not playing at their best. I agree with that. Kendo says, reckon Bruce is the man to fix Man United. He's coming home.
Yep.
Needs to just imagine. Samsonite says, to Botman's credit, his misplaced passes didn't affect his defensive performance. As young as he is, you could fear it would have. I agree with that 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, as I said before, his defensive play was fantastic, cutting out through balls, sliding, going to cover left back and sliding the ball out of play. Did it lots of times. But just those couple of passes that were a bit lax. Judy says Liverpool need to score. That's how far we're behind. Geordie Vicks here. Good evening. Bit late. Hope everyone is well. We are indeed. We're all celebrating another victory. Troll says ASM with an assist again. We need him from the start, in his opinion. I'm sure we're going to see that very soon.
Yeah, I mean, with the cup game and Chelsea, he's going to start one of them. Let's be honest. He'll play in one of them.
Yeah, I think he'll get an hour against Palace, and I think he'll start against Chelsea. If I'm honest,
potentially. If he plays well, and then yeah, if he starts against Palace and does well, then he's likely to come in against Chelsea.
Doug Stakes says, I wish people would stop using the saying new owners. They know they are no longer new, they are current owners. I agree with that, I guess.
To be fair, they've got a lot of commentators still say that about the players. They keep talking about new additions. These are players that we've had for 11 months.
Yeah. Conrad says that there were times I was impressed with the passing out from the back. My heart rate can't handle that, though. That's the modern game, though, isn't it? Playing out from the back. That's what all the top teams do. Rather than just hoofing it down the middle and hoping for a flick on. They're playing possession football now, isn't it? All the way from the back.
I mean, you could argue this is why we're so far ahead of schedule. It's several things marrying up at the same time. Because Howe came in and he said, no, we're not going to play pragmatic football. We are going to start right now, change to a dominant formation. We're going to try and play properly. We're going to try and improve the intensity, play with purpose. And he's been introducing this all from step one to a point. And then that coupled with positive recruitment and getting more out of the old players is the reason we're so far ahead of schedule in this project. Because, a lot of it's down to Eddie Howe and the fact that he just refused to be ultra pragmatic. He was like, no, we're going to play proper football straight away. And look where we are now.
You got any stats to put up on screen today, Alex, or are we just going to go with this too?
I do have some graphics. Yeah, I mean, I've got a nice thing to read out so far. This is from Dom Skur, the journalist. But so NUFC's points total of 27 after 14 games is their best in the top flight since the 96-97 season, in which we finished second. It's also the first time that we've had a goal difference of plus 17 or greater since April 2003. So make of that what you will, but that's pretty impressive. Let me just bring, if you want to do a few more comments, I need to bring FotMob up as well.
Okay, Calvin says we can get a great win against a poor performing Chelsea team in the next fixture. I think we can certainly do that. Solo says 3-horse race to the title. Can we dare to dream now? We can dare to dream, certainly. Aim for the stars, and if you fail, just fail. Who cares, Ryan says, Stu, pray for the rivals, mate. We're here to take over. We are indeed. We're not stopping anytime soon. Starty55 says, is there any news on injured players? No, not really. The fact Trippier carried on second half tells me that it was just a slight little niggle. The Wilson thing's his illness, and I don't think Willock he was walking okay at the end. I think that was just an impact injury that will be okay come next week. So, yeah. V says Longstaff had a solid match again. He really is coming along too. He is. Kendo says, what a 12 months. Yeah, they can't underestimate how far we've come in 12 months, can we? It's been awesome. Awesome. Down to the manager and the coaching stuff, I think, and the players, of course.
I think Longstaff is an interesting talking point because it was not very long ago, possibly only 4 weeks ago, we were talking about improved performances. He's doing well. He's had to try and learn how to play 6 and 8 and rotate. And he had a couple of sloppy games, but he was trying. He was improving, and people were still giving him a bit of jip. And let's be honest. He looks like he's coming out the other end of it very, very well. He's doing a lot of positive things. He was unfortunate not to get a goal contribution of any kind today, which is why I'm of the opinion I said last month. I'm not willing to let any player go now. In terms of, I'm always willing to give him a chance, just because pretty much every single person that's been worked with has eventually turned it around in some way or capacity. So I'm not willing to write anybody off now. I'm just going to try and pull the positives and stick with it and see what happens. And the players that he wasn't sure he could get it out of, he sent out on loan. So the players still in the squad, I've got to believe in them somewhat.
Keep talking a minute, Alex. I'm trying to get rid of these wasps. Wrong way.
Yeah, well, to a degree. I mean, I don't think we're going to see much of Matt Ritchie. I'm not sure if he's still out injured because he did pick up a knock. But we do have quite a few people in that position. I mean, we've still got Jamal Lewis to play left back, unless he's going to put Ritchie on the wings. But you would argue that Elliot Anderson and Fraser are in front of him for that. So I don't see where Ritchie would ever get any more minutes this season unless we have a severe injury crisis. And that's probably the only one that's kind of dead and buried. Paul Dummett was given an opportunity against Tranmere, did very poorly in that game. So we'll see if he gets anything when he's fit. But those are probably the two players probably right at the bottom of the squad. I mean, you'd argue he might give Jamal Lewis another chance. And then you start getting to your phrases and stuff. So there's one or two down the bottom there. But they will probably get kept until the end of the season anyway, for depth, depending on who we bring in January.
Before we put the stats up, I've got a quick question. Do you think the fact he brought on Elliot Anderson to play on the right-hand side, obviously a position he's not really used to, it signifies that he's now ahead of the pecking order of Ryan Fraser?
That's an interesting one. Possibly. It does concern me. Well, it concerns me as to what his decision is going to be for Palace, because I hope he doesn't start Fraser and not start Anderson. I think Anderson deserves at least an hour. He deserves a start. But I mean, Anderson's left-footed, so maybe he wants to slowly try and integrate him and be an inverted winger and do what Miggy's doing. Because we've only ever seen Anderson as a left 8 or a left wing. This is the first time I've seen him given an opportunity on the right. So maybe this is going to be the start of that shift in moving him over to an inverted winger, and then we'll have Miggy and Anderson on the right. We'll see.
Okay, let's look at these stats and let's get these on the screen and see what we've got.
So we've got FotMob up, and they have rated Bruno with the highest rating with 8.2 in the middle. Very, very poor stats, as you can see, for Southampton, with the goalkeeper on a 4.5. Zoom in a little bit more, shall we? Burn with the lowest rating on our team. Well, I don't know how Wilson got that, but I think that's harsh. I think and Longstaff, to be fair. See, stats don't always reflect performances necessarily. Running, it doesn't always get logged statistically. Let's scroll down here. So really, really interesting with the XG. Really interesting. So our XG is only 0.83 and we've scored 4 goals. Because the goals we score are generally they're not clear cut generally. So Miggy with a 0.21. So that goal was probably the best value chance. But he still had a lot to do beating those 2 players and bending it around the keeper. He had a lot of work to do. That's why you only score 1 in 5 of them. And then you've got the Willock goal, which again was from quite far out. You could argue the keeper could have done better, should have done better. So a 0.18 chance of getting that in. And then if I can get Wood's goal again with only a 0.08, it was a good turn and shot. Very low XG value for that. And then Bruno's shot, which is really, really far out with again a 0.04. So really low XG values for the shots we actually got the goals from. We didn't really get that many shots. We don't tend to shoot anymore unless it's a high value chance. Whereas this is what we mentioned the other night is Southampton will just pepper it from anywhere generally. Whereas we're more about getting the high value chances. Occasionally, if it doesn't work, Cher will have a shot from out here. But 9 times out of 10 now, we tend to wait for the high value opportunities and we work the ball back into dangerous areas. But it was a strange one because we're used to seeing us very dominant with possession nowadays. But I think after we took the lead and after we got ahead again, we extended the lead. We were quite happy to sit in a defensive shape off the ball and then try and hurt them on transition, and it worked because we got more goals. I think Southampton had a couple of stronger chances that arguably should have gone in. If you look at the shot, the El Yunusi goal, no, this was the miss. He managed to lose Trippier at the back post. So that actually had a 0.66. So you normally score those most of the time. So we were quite fortunate that didn't go in.
We were,
and Salisu there with a 0.12. Adams. So quite low XG values from some of these because we've got a lot of defenders typically in front of these shots. That's what our lads are very good at doing, is getting bodies in the way. But arguably he should have scored that. But we still got 4 goals, so it wouldn't have made a difference, really, would it? We don't.
How many shots on target did we have? Was it 4 shots on target? I'm pretty sure. It was definitely 3 when we'd scored 3 goals, but whether it was 4 in the end.
Do I have a shots value in here? Yeah, here we go, shots. So in this section, so we had 4 shots on target and scored 4 goals.
What a goalkeeper he is.
very clinical today. And they had 5 on target. Funny, we didn't actually hit the post today. That's strange for us, but
no,
yeah. 5 shots inside the box. We were making sure we were pulling the trigger when it was appropriate. In terms of tackles as well, 4 interceptions to their 13. They were just having to do a lot more grinding than us, and it was to no avail because we just had that, that clinical edge. Even passes, they had more passes, more accurate. A lot of stats in their favour, but it just didn't count. We were quite happy. This is one of the first situations I've seen in a long time where we are happy to cede possession and just hit them on transition and just have a really, really compact shape. It didn't work with their 1 goal they conceded, but it worked for generally all the other situations. So we got average positions. This is ours. This is not Southampton's average position. Then we've just shoved them back. But so this is a lot deeper than we typically see us. Normally we see 5 in our half and 5 in their half, but a lot more split. We're a little bit deeper than we normally are. But it was for the reasons we've just talked about. We were quite happy once we were ahead to kind of soak up pressure and hit on the counter. We didn't, and then we dominated when it was necessary. When we lost the ball, especially when Wood came on, he was very good at tracking back like really, really quickly and being part of the defensive shape. Obviously, Trippier is normally, to be fair, whenever we do average positions, Trippier is normally kind of like up here. So he is a bit further back, and Bruno is normally close to the centre circle. So everybody is a little bit deeper. And as you can see here, with Southampton's average positions, you can see what they were trying to do towards the end of that game as well. They were throwing people. I appreciate they had substitutions as well, but we're looking at just the starting 11. This little cluster here. And you can see if you go back and look at our average positions, how we've got nice little triangles and little passing networks. It just works really nicely. And when you look at their clusters, you can see what the objective was here is just try and mush forward and get the counter attack going and overloads. And to be fair, it worked. They got a few overloads. It was dangerous. So if Southampton are going to do that, then we need to be careful of some of the better teams. Because they managed to get a 1-1 draw against Arsenal, and you could see elements of quality in their game and how they got that 1-1 against Arsenal. They do have some talent, but it wasn't enough to stop our clinical lads today with the 4 goals.
Indeed, it wasn't. Yeah, so that's the stats. Tom's asking a question. I'll have a little think about this. Is Longstaff football's greatest Sean?
What Sean's have we got?
Well, did Wright Phillips ever win a title? I think he must have done it at Chelsea, mustn't he? So I guess you'd have him ahead, wouldn't you? Although his name's spelled differently, isn't it? It's a Haun job, isn't he?
No, he's Shaun. Yeah.
Sean Dundee's the only one I can think of, the ex-Australian striker who played in Germany. Might have played for Liverpool as well. I can't think of any more. There's got to be more Sean's than that.
Sean Dyche, I guess, played football.
For Chesterfield.
I'll have a think.
Yeah, it's a hard one. You might be right, Tom. You might be right. Doug says we are 2 or 3 years behind second place. It needs time. Well, you say that, but we're only like 3 or 4 points off it at the moment. I mean, I know it's over the whole season it counts, but maybe you might be a little bit.
To be fair, Arsenal, nobody really expected Arsenal to kick on in this capacity. So I'm not saying we can, but the fact that Arsenal did it is surprising.
Alan Brown says, to be fair, I can't remember their keeper making a single save today. Well, he didn't. Every shot that was on target went in. Good to see Shelvey come on and allow Bruno to play high up the field and score. Yeah, that's a good point. Shelvey come on and looked pretty sprightly again, didn't he?
He did. There was another moment where he was pressing as the highest man up the pitch as well. He was pressing as a striker.
Yeah.
He does look like he's got some more legs. It'll be interesting to see him start a match because obviously the game was very funny when he came on. There had been a lot of substitutions. The scoreline was all over the place. It was a different game. So I think we'll get to see him in his full capacity when he starts, hopefully against Palace in the Cup.
Yeah, I think it's a certainty he will start. I think he'll rest Trippier. I guess he might even play Lascelles, mightn't he? And maybe play Burn at centre half, bring a target in. Who knows? No point trying to predict what Eddie Howe does because we never get it right. Well, apart from me today, got the lineup right, but that's a rare occurrence. Dave Elliott says, evening Toon review. I've been catching up with Paul's watch along as I was at a meeting. Just seen his reaction to Miggy's goal. Loved it. Even funnier at 20.25 speed. He sounds like a South American commentator. Yes, I can imagine that. Conrad says, is Joe Linton back for the game against Chelsea? He is. I'm guessing he might play against Palace as well, mightn't he? I'm guessing he might do. He's well rested, I guess. So
yeah, it's possible. I mean, we've still got additional subs, so he might get. I don't know. I'm not. That's a great question, actually. We'll have to talk about that if we do a preview for Palace.
Review, yeah.
I'm not sure. Who have we got that's not got minutes? I mean, Willock took a knock and played. Longstaff's played a ton of football. He's got to have a rest at some point. So Shelvey, I think Shelvey's absolutely nailed on to start. Yeah. And then the others, I'm not sure. He might even rest Bruno. You never know.
We get Anderson. He can Target. I think will definitely come in. Lascelles, I think will play.
Well, you say that he's got a habit of playing much stronger sides than we think. Whenever we expect rotation, so I think there's going to be far less rotation than we all predict.
The goalkeeping position is a difficult one to predict because Darlow was on the bench today, wasn't he? So who plays against Palace? Yes. Darlow. I imagine it'll be Darlow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he got us through against Tranmere and did well. So he was good against Tranmere. To be fair, he did some good defensive actions and was very, very tidy. And apart from somebody put a foot through him. Yeah, I'd probably say Darlow deserves it as long as he's doing well enough in training to warrant that start.
Ashley 80 says only 66 likes. What's everyone playing at? Yeah, hit that thumbs up as I've said earlier, and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Helps us with the channel. We're heading for 16k already. We're well on the road to it, so it's a massive adventure we're all going on. Julie J says this is just like the olden days, the entertainers era. It is expecting to win every week. It's a fantastic thing to have. Heaven saying that space bar. Rachel said about Joe Linton coming back. He was had a 1-match ban. Norvik saying hello. Hello, Norvik. Hi, Billy and Alex. He says, David Greenwell says, club before country for me. Keep trips at home. Yeah, well, I don't think we can do that. We're not allowed to do that anyway. And I think it's the wrong thing to do, really, when it's a World Cup, especially. Knights of Knee Gaming says, too early to say we could win the league. Possibly, but who knows?
Too early.
Who knows? Who knows? If Grealish can make the England squad, no reason why Longstaff can't, says Robert. Top 3 says MG Vlog. Right, let's do the play ratings. Goalkeeper Nick Pope, marks out of 10. Alex,
I think he gets an 8 today, but a proper 8. It's a strange one. A few people thinking he could have done better for the goal, but I think the way that I'd have to go back and have a look at it again. But the way it was struck, I can't see. I think if he moves, he doesn't get it. I think he's well aware of that. It's just one of those that you just know, and there's just no point. I know that sounds a bit defeatist, but it was such a good strike right in the top bins. But I'll give him an 8. He saved at important times. He was quick off his line, better distribution, kept everybody, especially with defensive errors, he kept everybody nice and calm. Deserves his 8.
I agree with that. 8 out of 10, absolutely. For the goal itself, I don't think he could have come out because Dan Burn was sliding across, I remember. So he had nowhere to go to. He was kind of restricted behind what Dan Burn was doing. So I don't think you blame him for the goal. But yeah, his handling was really, really good. His distribution was good. His anticipation was good. Definitely 8 out of 10. For me, Kieran Trippier, Alex, right back.
He's our highest rated player statistically. And he's just so integral for the way we play. He's essentially doing what Shelvey was doing for a long time for us, and he pulls all the strings offensively. Bruno sets things up and keeps things ticking, but the switches and the ticking is for Trippier to then go and produce dangerous things. The set pieces are so much better, so much more dangerous. The teams have got no idea what's going to happen because we've got so many new little routines where we play short corners, because we all used to whinge about short corners. I think we're really good at them now. I think we're really dangerous with them because after it's gone 2, 3, 4 passes and then comes into the box, they've forgotten who their man is or where their man's gone, who they're marking, and it's all chaos. Arguably, we could be doing better, but Trippier's just integral in all of it. And his defensive work was outstanding today. I think I'm going to give Trippier a 9 because he got an assist as well. Very competent in defence. He lost his man at the back post, but it happens. Fortunately, he didn't go in.
Yeah, I'll give a 9 also. Like you say, that pass for the Willett goal was an absolute storming pass. Dodd bisected the 2 centre-halves and bent behind. Unbelievable vision. And again, led from the front. Got us on the front foot quite often. A couple of times he was a bit, lackadaisical in defence, but all the things he did going forward, and at times when it mattered, he really did help us out at the back. So 9 for me. Dan Burn on the other side, Alex.
Well, I don't think that was his best day today. I think he struggled. Partly not his fault, as I think that people were getting confused as to who was wide cover when and in what situation. I think it gets a bit people get a bit confused in transition who's supposed to be where, especially today with Burn, because he kind of got left. I mean, he was being quite adventurous, to be fair. He was receiving the ball high up and driving, but that was where we were getting hurt for large periods of there when they were trying to be dominant. I don't know. That's a tough one because I think we won 4-1. It's. I don't want to be too harsh, but I think I brought his stats up here. I mean, 0 out of 7 ground duels. He didn't win a single out of the 7. Passing accuracy was down at 66%. Dribble passed quite a lot. He got a very low rating as well. I'm going to give him a 6 today. I don't think he was great.
Okay. I'll give him a 7. I don't think he was helped by the fact he didn't have Joe Linton in front of him. I think he looks a far more solid defender with Joe Linton next to him. Yeah, I think he also got pulled in a few times to help Botman out, and I thought he did okay blocking wise and last tackles wise. But I agree with the fact that he was beaten a few times and his passing weren't great. So I'll give him a 7. Middle of the defence now. We're going to start with Fabian Schär.
Big Fab. What we're gonna give to him? I mean, he had a quiet day today in terms of I don't remember him doing much, but I guess that's a really good thing with a centre back, isn't it? It's not like when Lascelles is on, you're always just watching him like a hawk. Whereas with Cher, I'm just so comfortable with him on the ball. If you're giving Burn a 7, then I've got to give Cher an 8 because Cher was hands down better than Dan Burn today. So
yeah, I think Cher's worthy of an 8. Again, really cool. Some good tackles, some good wins in the air. Some of the passing again was great. He got us on the front foot a couple of times himself. Also, 8 out of 10's fine for me. Sven Botman next to
him. That's the first game I've seen him struggle in. Well, I say struggle, wrong word. I think all of the actual defensive phases he handled perfectly well. It was just a couple of passes that went awry. I'd want to give him an 8, but because of the misplaced passes, I can't. I'm going to give him a 7. But still, 6 out of 9 long balls. A couple of good recovery. There was a situation where he was 1-on-1, and I was not at all bothered. I knew he was going to win it. He's very good at those recovery runs. I'm still really bitter about people in January saying, I know we got him in the summer, but we tried to get him in the January transfer window. A lot of people were talking about his pace. He's not fast enough. His pace. He's fine. His recovery runs are excellent. His positioning's good. He can put his foot down, and he always wins those recovery runs. I'll give him a 7 purely because of the misplaced passes. But I've not lost faith. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'll give the same 7. Again, it's just purely for those 2 lackadaisical passes. But the actual defending itself, he was perfect at yet again. Don't think anyone ever went past him. He made some fantastic blocks. Also in the box, that one he blocked for a corner with his hands behind his back, went down on one knee and still managed to get it out for a corner. He was just excellent defending. So 7 purely for those passes. But yeah, as usual, defensively solid as a rock. Bruno sat in front of the back 4, Alex.
Ooh, that's going to have to be a 9. It's going to have to be same as Trippier because purely the goal instantly bumps him up. It was a brilliant goal. 5 out of 10 ground duels. He drew 3 fouls, and it's always the nature of where he draws those fouls. He draws the fouls on purpose when it's necessary, when we need to get rid of some danger. He's so clever with it. 2 tackles, 1 interception. Passing was not as great today with 63% accuracy, but a lot of his passes, let's not forget, are switching it or trying to be dangerous. He gets a 9. Just outstanding, just brilliant. Best player outside the top 6. But we're in the top 6, so that don't count anymore.
Yeah, I'll give him the 9 also. I thought it was superb yet again. Unseen work, lots of dirty work that he got through today also. And that goal was just sublime. So 9 out of 10 definitely doesn't do him any disservice. Sean Longstaff next to him, Alex.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because he's been done dirty by the ratings. He's only got a 6.3 on SofaScore, but I thought he was considerably better than that. He attempted 1 cross, he completed it. He attempted 2 long balls, he completed both of them. Shot off target. His passing was 84%, which is better than most of the previous lads we've just talked about. He was tenacious in the press. Whenever he intercepted the ball, he would then go bombing on a run. You know, we mentioned earlier, what was it, the 87th minute, sprinting 70 yards to press the goalkeeper. I'm going to give him a 9. I know he didn't score, but I just feel like from where he's come and to that performance, I feel like every coaching instruction given to him today, he listened to it and he performed it and executed it to a T. I think he did exactly what his job was today perfectly, and I think the coaching staff would be very happy with him. I think the only thing that was missing was maybe trying to put one of them on target or in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think 9's fair. I mean, that diving header, if that had gone in, I think I'd have jumped through the roof. It was a fun, he just got in front of the forward players at times. The first goal was a point of that, a point of fact about that. He got forward of Miggy, got the ball first time passing to Wilson, and the rest was history. As I say, constantly joining attack, constantly linking defence to attack also. And his energy is unbelievable. I mean, we've all criticised him in the past for looking a bit weak and a bit below average. But his fitness has come on leaps and bounds, and he does. He runs and runs and runs and runs and runs. So 9 out of 10 is fair for him. Joe Willock.
Yeah, I've handcuffed myself here because I can't give him lower than Longstaff because he scored. It would be weird for me to rate him lower, so I'm going to have to give Joe Willock a 9. He was busting a gut to try and provide overlaps and passing options. He was trying to do a lot of flicky, dinky stuff and link up play. He got the goal. I would have liked to have seen him maybe finish off the game, actually. It's nice to see Maxi, but it would have been nice to see him on that left wing for another 20 minutes because he was... it's the first time I've really seen him out wide. We've talked about it, maybe him playing there before, and we've never really got to see it. So, yeah, I'll give him a 9. Very, very good from Mr. Willock, especially after his interview. I'm happy for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, great goal, great finish. That was the Joe Willock of 2 years ago, wasn't it? The way he finished that and out sprinted. He's deceptively quick also, I think. People underestimate how quick Joe Willock is.
It's like
he's really
Bambi
rapid,
with a turbo, isn't he?
God, blimey. And he everywhere again today, defending, attacking. Again, 9 out of 10 is fair. We'll go to the left wing, Jacob Murphy.
So I gave Burn a 6. I think he was a tiny bit better than Burn. His first half an hour was competent. His pressing was okay. We don't do half, so I'll give him a 7. But it could have been a 6 if I'm swayed. Depends what you say.
I'm going to say 6. I'm going to say 6 because, as you said, I thought first part of the game it was sufficient for what he was doing. He was up against their first choice right back. Well, the first choice of the day's right back, not a makeshift one. But strange enough, as soon as Maitland-Niles went over there, he disappeared out of the game, which was found very strange. Didn't do the defensive covering that he generally does. So yeah, I think I'm going to give him a 6.
That's fair.
Yeah. Miggy on the right.
It's got to be a 9. If I've given some of the other lads a 9, it's got to be a 9. Not even just the goal. There were so many times where he was just at them in the final third. It didn't quite come off, but he nearly robbed the ball at least 3 times. Alexis St. Grealish is ahead of Willock on 4. Did I say that?
I don't think you did.
Different positions. Yeah, Miggy purely just for the pressing and the ball recoveries. So many attacks and ball retention is just down to Miggy just pressing. It will go all the way back to the goalkeeper, and then because he's so far ahead in the press, it gives time to Wilson, Longstaff, others to then go and cover all the other passing options. And then they have to boot it long, and then we've got big lads to win it in the air. He is such a good system player. He's brilliant, and now he's scoring goals consistently. I mean, he's unfortunate not to get a 10 from me. He wasn't. If he'd have been involved in a tiny bit more, I'd have given him a 10. He was close, very close. Brilliant pressing performance and a brilliant goal. And he started it off because we can be a bit nervy until we get that first goal, and we just got a nice goal from open play because Miggy was so tenacious. Comfortable 9. Could argue it could be a 10.
No, I'm going to give him a 9 too. I don't think he's been as good today as he was the week before or the week before that, but he was still outstanding, and he scored the goal. His pressing again was great. Again, helping out Trippier at times as well, which was really, really good. They kind of linked so well together, them two. So yeah. 9 for me. Where we go now, Callum Wilson.
I'll give him a... No, I can't give him a 7 because I gave Murphy a 7. Give him an 8. I'll give him an 8. He contributed a lot of the chances we got in that first half. The Longstaff chances and the Miggy goal were down to Wilson's positioning, movement, pulling defenders different ways. He's just such an intelligent footballer. And it's not like there are certain teams and players where when the striker doesn't score, it's frustrating. But it's so evident that even when Wilson doesn't score, you can see he's doing so much for others around him and runners. And he's just so important. He's so good. Yeah, definitely an 8. Even though he didn't get a goal or an assist or anything, he was part of a lot of it. So I'll give him an 8.
I think he's not going to get an assist for the Miggy goal, but maybe he would. No, he flicked out to Longstaff, didn't he? Did he?
I'd have to go and watch it back. I'm not sure.
Anyway, he knew he was going to get cropped. He knew exactly what was going to happen to him after that, and he still went through and played a fantastic ball. It was to Miggy, wasn't it? He put me.
Yeah, they've not credited Wilson or Longstaff with any assists. So
yeah, but none of the chances came to him today. But he was very, very unselfish in some of his play, and yeah, I think an 8's a fair score. Even
they're giving one to Murphy.
For what?
They're giving an assist to Murphy. I'm not actually sure. No, they've given Murphy just a flat assist for something. What would that be?
Wood's goal. Must be Wood's
goal. Wood's goal, would it?
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
I think that's quite a lucky assist there. It was mostly Wood, but
yeah. So I think 8's fair. He was under the weather as well, not 100% well. So I think 8's fair. Substitutes. Chris Wood came on at half-time for Wilson.
Yeah. Where is he, Mr. Wood? There he is. I mean, I'm going to give him an 8. I'm not going to give him a 9 because there was a lot of on-the-ball stuff and decision-making that was just really poor. And he's just not at that level. But when we take it back to just a pure basic striker's instinct, brilliant goal, brilliant turn, knew exactly where the goal was. And then on top of that, the defensive work rate to try and immediately run back into shape when necessary. I appreciate that. He did well for the team there. None of us would have really expected him to do what he did today. I don't think he did quite as well as players like Miggy and stuff, but I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, I think 8's fair for the goal. The bit of pressing as well, like you say, but a great finish for the goal, great turning finish, and right in the bottom corner. Likes a goal at St Mary's, isn't he? So if we are trying to sell him,
does, yeah.
Ralph Potnoodle, if you're still there, just think, man scores all the time at your ground. Here's a question for you before we go any further, Alex. How many points got a European place last year? Carl.
I can check. I can check right now, actually. So last season, when we say European place, what are we saying? 7th?
Well, West Ham, they with their conference, aren't they?
So the Conference League place was 56 points, West Ham. And we are on course. I mean, a few weeks ago, we did this. We did the workings out for roughly what points total we're on course for. Anywhere between 62 and 67, depending on what you factor in as points per game, whether you factor in calendar year or this season. So we're on course to get at least 60 points, well at least 60 points, if we continue on any sort of form that we're on, which would get us 6th place. It would get us a Europa League spot minimum if it's the same as last season. So Man United finished in 6th with 58 points, and then 5th place Arsenal in 69. So, and then the first Champions League place in 4th, Tottenham got 71 points. So we're going to have to really, really kick on, because getting over 70 points is hard. It's really hard. And our points per game for the calendar year isn't that high. It's not into the 70s. So Champions League is a lot harder than people seem to think. We're going to have to really blow out of the water to maintain it. It's so hard.
Right, let's go to the marks for Alan St Maximan, who came on for Murphy.
I think it was Shelby that came on next.
Shelby first, was it?
64 minutes, yeah, for Murphy.
Go with Shelby.
I mean, he played enough time for a solid rating, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll give him a 7, but he didn't do anything wrong. We were in a very different phase of the game at that point, but he was very solid. 2 long balls, 12 out of 13 passes, pressing very well, very energetic, nice and solid. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, for the half an hour, about half an hour with the added time, 7's fair, I think. Again, his use of the ball, as always, was exemplary. He does still look really fit, considering he's been out injured for such a long time. The press was great. Looks to have added a yard of pace. I don't know if it's deceptive or not, but yeah, I think 7's fair. Who was next, Alex? Was it Maxi then, was it?
That was Maxi for Willock on 73.
Right.
I mean, I'm still only going to give him a 7 because I don't think he's only on 17 minutes pre-injury time, so 21 total. Couple of good runs, but then again he lost the ball twice on a couple of good runs, which we didn't want to have to change into a defensive transition at that point. So, but I guess because the game was wrapped up, I think he just wanted to have a go. Fair enough, I guess. He got an assist, he got a key pass. I think he's quite fortunate that's listed as an assist, but he still had to perform the 1-2. He still had to time the pass, weight the pass correctly into Bruno so he could have the space to shoot. So, yeah, I'll give him a 7. It was all right, and I'm excited to see him start.
Hey, if Murphy's getting a 7 for his assist, I think an assist for his role in the Wood goal, I think Matt well deserves his. I think 7's fair for him also. I think that one win where he took on about 6 players, 3 within 2 yards of him was unbelievable. Even though he lost it at the end, but it was just one of those things that get you off your seat at the game. And so 7 for his small cameo. Yep, that's good enough for me. We've got Manquillo and Anderson came on together, didn't they? Yeah. Can we mark them? It was quite late on, wasn't it?
I mean, they got 10 minutes of standard time and 4 minutes of extra time, so not that added time. I mean, I want to rate Manquillo just because I'm unhappy with what he did. I'm not going to scapegoat him. It's genuinely, I think it's purely just because he's rusty.
Yep.
And we made there were a lot of changes. You know, I think, did we use all 5? I think that was all 5, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
I think he deserves a 5, though. I can't give him any. I mean, you mentioned that he looked okay in attack. I disagree. I think he got into their final third and then just didn't know what to do. I think he was very, unsure.
No, I said he looked good going forward. I didn't say he looked good with any final decisions or anything.
Well, yeah, he got forward and then nothing.
He managed to get ahead of the rest of the players, but after that, he just.
But we've seen Manquillo do some really, really good stuff for us. And in the first parts of having Eddie Howe as the manager, he was decent and he was first choice. Before we got Trippier in, and I do like Manquillo. So I'm going to just sweep it under the rug and I'm hoping that's just a one-off and he's just rusty because I know he can do a lot better than that.
Yeah, he's not played for such a long time, has he? And yeah, he was where he was for the goal, I don't know, because he had a bit of a tussle with Pirot before the ball came in. He had like a 1-2, didn't he, Pirot? And Manquillo then decided to disappear to the side of the penalty area for some reason and then was trying to head the ball away. It was a bizarre bit of football. If you watch it on the replay tonight on Match of the Day or highlights, you'll see where he is. You'll think, well, how the hell did he get there so quick? And what's he trying to do? He dived, trying to head it. I thought, well, what? Weird. 5 out of 10 absolutely sums him up. And Anderson, I'll give him a 6. I felt sorry for the lad being put in that position by Manquillo to give the goal. But he did do 1 or 2 nice things with the ball when he had it at his feet.
I don't think there were enough players in support when he was in attacking. When he was attacking and he got the ball high up the pitch, he didn't have the support to try and do anything. You can't expect him to, he's not Maxi, he's not going to take on 4 people. I give him a 6, but it's not a negative 6. I just don't think he had the time or the support to do anything. I'm not going to blame him for the goal at all. I refuse to. No, I'm not allowing it. It's not his fault.
Absolutely not. Ken Robinson's in the house. Hi, Ken. Hi, Billy and Alex. Superb result today, and hasn't it always been those teams that win things when they don't play well? Exactly what I thought of the result today. Yeah, I agree with you, Ken. It was nowhere near our best day at the office, but still managed to win comfortably. V says Botman just needed to pick his head up a bit more today. And Tom Lord 7 Boris says great game at St Mary's, predicted the right score too, but had to stay quiet as was sat with Southampton supporters. Not as bad as John Sinclair, who was in the Southampton end, in fact.
Was he? Oh, God.
He was indeed. Norvik saying hello. Big right hand says third in the table. Bosch, get in. Poor Simba says Tom. Raging Phoenix says Liverpool 2, Tottenham 1. Official, we are third. Indeed, we are. And Craig Wright, goddamn, definitely screwed with my sleeping habits here in Australia. That's the time for you, the time difference, I guess. Right, Eddie Howe, marks out of 10.
I'll give him an 8. I think I don't think a lot of what he did was a lot of the result wasn't necessarily from what his decisions today. I think Miggy's just Miggy, but obviously they've done a lot of work with him in training. I think Wood's goal was just down to Wood. Bruno's goal was down to Bruno just being Bruno. I think there were a few deficiencies in the side today, and we didn't play as well as we can. I mean, that being said, we won 4-1. But even so, there were definitely a couple of issues today. We need to try and tidy them up for when we play Chelsea, who are a better side. But I think they will readily admit that. I mean, Trippier admitted it straight away after the game. They weren't completely at the races today, and they need to switch on a little bit more against a stronger team. So I'll give them an 8 because we won comfortably, and the result came from previous hard work in training with the group. But I don't think there was any tactical genius today in the decision making necessarily.
I'm going to give it a 9 purely for obviously he had no choice but to bring Chris Wood on, but he's come on as sub and scored. And I think he set up us to play in the counter attack. Once we got the lead, counter attack, and counter back attack, and counter attack to death. So all the work that's gone on getting us to this position has added to today's result. Actually, I think Southampton was shit scared of us. So I'll give him a 9. Any special mentions for anyone on there today, Alex?
I think Longstaff has got to have it. It's got to be Longstaff because he was just everywhere. Left mid, right mid, left wing, right wing, leading, sometimes doing the striker's press, just appearing at the back post, the front post. If he can then suddenly start to add some final product as well, I'm very impressed with his improvements. And fair enough, we are going to start buying some superstars or some much higher caliber players. But if Longstaff can put in that kind of performance consistently, then he's a very, very useful squad player. He's homegrown, he's from the area. And if he can give it, because if we qualify for Europe, we're going to need to play 55 matches, something like that, anywhere between 50 and 60 matches, depending on how we do in other cups. So we need homegrown, decent talents that are able to put in a good performance when needed. So if we can call upon him in the next year or two, he's not necessarily always going to be a starter if we bring in some more quality players. But yeah, brilliant. I think Longstaff gets it from me.
I'm going to give it to Joe Willock. We've been saying, all of us have been saying for weeks on end now, all he needs is a goal. He's got that goal now. So let's hope he can propel himself to something super and more beneficial to the team with some actual output goals-wise. I think that's what will happen with a bit of confidence for him. I thought, again, outstanding today. So I'll give mine to Joe Willock. Gareth's very concerned about you, Alex. Are you okay, Alex, with that cough?
Yeah, I've only just realised Gary mentioned that my mute's not working. So I do apologise if anybody's hearing me cough. Normally, when I mute, you can't hear me cough, but for some reason that's not been working correctly. So I think I've been coughing just like into the mic. So sorry, guys. No, I'm okay.
Simon says, I don't see what people see in Ward-Prowse. Take away the free kicks. He's very average. I'm not sure about that. Conrad says, on my sports WhatsApp chat, Man U fans dreading us getting Champions League spot at the end of the season because we'll have funds to compete in the transfer market. Good points. That'll push them all down one. Geordie Rick says, Wilson, Burn, Tripp and Longstaff for England. Who knows? Who knows? Daniel's turned up. Hi, Daniel. Hope you're well. Wagner Belleo says, Bruno, man of the match for me. Played the whole game. Started the third goal. Scored an amazing one besides playing lots of defence. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think he had a superb game again. Just not as visible as what he usually is, but the unseen work. Because we watch him, don't we? Obviously, we've got our eyes on Bruno all the time. So, Case Ball says, Willock was everywhere today. Mark Coleman says, imagine Longstaff for England. And Doug Stake says there is no such thing as man of the match anymore. Well, that's where you're wrong. Alan Smith gave Sean Longstaff gave player of the match. Yeah, you're right. It's one of those.
I think that's what he's referring to.
His point is, yeah.
I think that's a strange topic because we say away the lasses and away the lads, but then we don't say, lass of the match or lad of the match. Sometimes it's okay to split it and not okay to split it. I'm not quite sure where the line is, but I don't mind doing player of the match. That's fine.
He says it'll all be man of the match. The whole player bit annoys the hell out of me. It's woman of the match and man of the match for me. I tend to agree. Rose says, I'm so happy for Willock and Wood. So we'll come to the end of the show. We don't know what we've got planned for the week, but there'll surely be a Palace preview. Keep your eye out and then get your notification bell on the thing. don't think there'll be a fan forum this week. Possibly be the Palace preview instead. I don't know what's planned for tomorrow. I don't know if you've got transfer stuff planned or not.
I'm away tomorrow night, but
Are you away tomorrow?
and then I'm away for the awards on Wednesday night as well. So potentially Paul might want to slot something in tomorrow and Tuesday. You'll have to just keep an eye on the Twitter and the YouTube notifications.
Indeed, you'll have to keep out notification bells and see what comes up. We don't know ourselves yet, but there will definitely be stuff, and there'll definitely be a watch along Wednesday for the Palace game with me. So till then, until our next show, which is probably going to be tomorrow night, we don't know yet, but there will be one tomorrow night. We'll both bid you a fond farewell and enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. We're third in the table. Away the lads and lasses.